The 𝕹𝖵𝖗 Clan. Prologue. Before Alaska had a name, before maps separated mountains from forests and people from animals, there was the 𝕹𝖵𝖗 Clan. It was not a random gathering of hunters, nor a legend born of fear. It was an order, covenant as old as ice that never truly melts. 𝕹𝖵𝖗 meant those who guard the border. They did not hide from men, nor did they seek them. They lived between worlds, changing their form according to the needs of the land, not according to desire. Under the moon there were wolves, great and silent, running on the ridges where the wind tore the snow into shreds. Under the sun there were men, with strong bodies and gazes that did not lie. It was not a curse, it had once been a choice. The clan's ancestors had made a pact with the spirit of the forest, in times when winter swallowed entire villages. In exchange protection, the 𝕹𝖵𝖗 had become the guardians of balance. They were not allowed to conquer. They were not allowed to dominate. Only to preserve. For generations, they respected the covenant. They hunted only as much as was necessary. They left no unnecessary traces. They buried their dead under old trees, to become part of the roots. Children learned first to listen, only then to speak. The howl was not a call to battle, but a language. But the world of men was changing. Roads cut through the forests. Engines tore through the silence. The sky began to vibrate under metal blades. Some of the 𝕹𝖵𝖗 wanted to respond with force. Others chose to retreat deeper. The clan grew tighter, thinner, but not broken. Then came 𝕮𝖆𝖗, born of A troubled line of human and lupin blood. He bore the weight of ancient mistakes. He was not chosen because he was the strongest, but because he could control his rage. Under his leadership, the 𝕹𝖵𝖗 clan survived modern times without losing its soul. However, the clan's legends warned, a day would come when a child born without the curse would change everything. Then, 𝕹𝖵𝖗 would no longer be just a guardian who would be a witness. And the forest, which never forgets, would demand the truth. Chapter 1. The Call of the North. Manhattan was left behind like a dream of glass and light. After the final disappearance of Tarak, Nuri, and Elias' mother, the world of the Wolf brothers had been reduced to two people, Elias Turner and Alina Turner. There was no more pack, no more Siberian forest to bring them together. Elias was now the sole descendant of the Yaransk Wolf Clan, the bearer of the last covenant. Alina, the woman who had heard the wind and learned the silence of the trees, was his wife, support and bridge to humanity. Legally married, discreet, almost invisible in the world of big capital, the two now ran the Turner Industries empire with cold precision and a heavy responsibility. Turner steel had reached all over the world, and the next step was the far north, Alaska. The deal was colossal. A Russian concern had obtained oil drilling rights in an isolated area of Alaska, close to the Arctic Circle. Turner Industries was to provide everything that meant metal infrastructure. Well skeletons, pipelines, platforms, support systems. The contract was valued at billions. For Elias, however, the North was not just a deal, it was a calling. The city where they stayed was called 𝕮𝖆𝖗, a small but strategic settlement built of concrete, steel and thick wood, surrounded by frozen mountains and endless forests. During the day, the city seemed inert, like an animal asleep under icy night. The wind howled through the buildings, and the sky sometimes lit up in curtains of green light, the northern lights, the ancient dance of the north. The hotel they stayed in was the best in 𝕮𝖆𝖗, a massive edifice, with thick windows and stone fireplaces, designed to withstand winters of -40 degrees. On the first night, after signing the contract, Elias and Alina were left alone in their room, while the wind blew like an unseen beast through the walls. It was a silent and intense night. There was no rush, no big words. Just two bodies that knew each other to the core, two destinies that intertwined beyond blood and names. Under the dim light of the lamp and the distant sound of the snowstorm, the new heir to the Turner family was conceived, without them knowing it yet, but with a force that would change everything. The first months in Alaska passed seemingly peacefully. Elias supervised the construction, Alina took care of the documents, the relationship with the Russian partners, the logistics. But something was wrong. The animals had disappeared from around the city. The foresters reported tailed tracks, wolves that were too big, too aggressive. The workers spoke of howls that did not resemble anything known, and the 6th month, on a night when the aurora was red, Elias was awakened from his sleep by a cold presence. The room was filled with the smell of old snow and resin. The spirit of Yaransk had appeared again, the old wind in a white coat, with eyes without age. "The north is not silent, Elias," said the spirit. "A brother of your pack lives here, his name is Goran. Blood of your blood. But he chose violence, he's part of an Alaskan pack, a pack of hunger and blood." Elias felt a stab in his chest. Goran's name was not just a memory, it was an old wound, an echo of wrong choices. "He is close to your probes," continued the spirit. "If he is not stopped, the north will burn under the ice." When he woke up, Elias knew that it had not been a dream. It told Alina everything. She listened to him without fear, with a mature calm, her hand resting instinctively on her belly. "Our child feels it too," she said quietly. "But I'm staying here. You have to go." The decision was made without argument. Alina, pregnant, would stay at the hotel, under protection. Elias would go into the forest. The next day, Elias joined 𝕮𝖆𝖗𝖚, an old Alaskan ranger, and Daniel Brooks, a local policeman who had already investigated mysterious attacks. The three set off north into the frozen forest, on snowmobiles, then on foot, when the terrain became impossible. The Alaskan forest was not like Siberia. It was quieter, more brutal, more direct. The trees were sparse but massive, and the snow swallowed sounds. Elias advanced with a certainty that amazed the other two. He would stop suddenly, change direction, listen for invisible things. With his eyes closed, Elias called to the forest. Not with his voice, but with thought. The ravens appeared first. Then a lone gray wolf, which stared at him for a long time and disappeared, leaving a clear direction. Foxes, owls, even a giant moose became messengers. "The den is near," Elias said finally. "Under the black rocks, where the earth is warm under the ice." Caleb froze. "No one comes near there." Elias smiled, but there was no joy in his eyes.